Welcome. My name is Kim Hough. I am a current grad studies student pursuing my master's in Family and Human Development through Arizona State University. My presentation today is titled Resolving the Issues of Subpar Father Involvement. I am sure this topic is not new to you as family and child educators or as a member of everyday society. However, I am going to provide you with some important research that addresses the consequences of lack of father involvement. But most importantly, ways that your agency can help to improve the situation with the populations you serve. First, we will review the importance of father involvement for all members of the family. We will also discuss the view of a father today because father involvement has progressed from where it was years ago with strong evidence of the essential importance of nurturance of children in order for long-term gains to exist for the child and parent dyad. I will share with you the consequences of lack of father involvement, the current support systems in place that do not cater to all family structures and do not emphasize the importance of the positive impact on all family members. Efforts must be made to better support the family triad through providing training and education components to both the mother and the father as a parenting system. Through programs like Head Start, who can reach these vulnerable populations. I would like for each of you to take a minute to reflect on what father involvement looked like for you as a child. Whether you had an active father or not, think about how that has impacted you, good or bad. The topic of father involvement has been a passion of mine for a few years. First, I grew up without my biological father in my life. When I was 5, my mother divorced my father because he became addicted to opiates after a motorcycle accident. He was basically in and out of prison my entire life. I was fortunate that I still had an active, positive male role model after my mother began dating a man during her divorce. This man and my mother are still dating today. While I do look at him as one of the most influential people in my life, I still feel like I missed out on a close emotional bond with my father, or any father for that matter. My mom's boyfriend was there for us and supported us in many ways, and still does. However, I never saw him as a father, only as a friend. Now, I'm a single mother myself. From the moment that my ex-husband and I decided to divorce, I had always wanted him to be an active father in my children's lives. But unfortunately, that has been a slippery slope. He's left them on more than one occasion, abandoning his father responsibilities. He is now more active than he's been with them in the past, but he's not my idea of how I envision a father should be. Through these examples, you know that it's true when I say that research supports the idea that a lack of father involvement can impact children in varying degrees. What does it mean to be a father? When you think of what it means for a man to be a father, what comes to mind for you? What are the characteristics of what makes an involved father? Now, is this how someone might have answered 20, 30, 50, or 100 years ago? How is it different? By thinking about this and through research, we know that father involvement has taken on many forms throughout history.
My father was a child of his generation.
I remember he was around, but very absent. He was around quite a bit.
He worked really, really hard for everything that he had. He died when I was 6 months old. He was one of those dads that didn't express outwardly in words very much.
We never had a close relationship, never did anything together specifically.
He did a lot of things right, but we didn't realize it.
He was always a rock that we could always depend on in our household.
Growing up, I don't know, there was like a void in my life.
We would just throw the football back and forth. He would teach me how to throw a spiral. It's one of my fondest memories.
He worked almost 80 hours a week for 15 odd years. So I didn't really get to spend a whole lot of time with my dad.
I was always craving his approval.
Just he's not the most verbal person, and he's not the most social person, so...
He never said it. Always thinking that, well, because I give you the necessities of life, you should know it by osmosis.
My mother was primarily the one who gave me advice.
And I remember actually one night watching him hit my mom, and that's the last time that I really remember him being around.
And when I was 12, I found out that I was the product of an affair.
My sense of person and who I was kind of ripped away from me.
I had, I guess, anger issues when I was younger.
I never had a father, so I just kind of had to figure stuff out on my own.
I didn't realize until recently that was all rooted in my father being absent.
So I definitely believe it affected my ability to raise my children in that aspect.
When I had children, I really wanted to be a good dad.
I don't think anybody has the manual on fatherhood or really what to do.
When my son was born, I just felt afraid.
I worked hard at not disappointing them, even though I did.
Luckily, I had a very good example to follow, but so many times we get off track and we don't follow that example.
So I'm actually really excited to have kids so I can fulfill that role.
We have a wonderful family where we're really involved and communicate well with each other.
The strength lies in being transparent.
Be there, be honest, and be the type of person you would want your son to grow up to be.
It's not always being a really great provider, but it's really about spending time.
When you don't feel like doing what they want to do it anyway.
Be creative and give them a challenge.
The biggest thing I take away is being there counts.
Today, we see the father's role very differently than in the past. Fathers, like mothers, are now seen as a nurturer. We will look for fathers to show love through affection and emotional support. These changes in the role of the father over time have perhaps caused confusion on what role a father should take, although there are still aspects of a father around today from in the past, such as being a breadwinner, being a masculine figure, etc., in addition to being nurturing. Research has shown that there are a number of ways that children are negatively impacted by lack of father involvement. Today, we will focus on two main areas of child development: academic and social-emotional, which includes behavior challenge outcomes for young children. Research supports that young children have more positive outcome results for academic and social emotional outcomes when their fathers are involved. Therefore, the more a father is involved with their children of preschool age and younger, the more they support these outcomes in their children's lives. Children develop behavior problems when they have less father interaction. Preschool-age children who are more involved in outdoor leisure activities display a higher level of social-emotional development and also display less aggressive behaviors than children who do not have fathers involved and participating in these activities with them. We have reviewed some important issues of lack of father involvement. However, it's not just the child who is impacted when fathers are not involved. It is actually the entire family that's impacted. When a link is broken within the family unit, it causes disruptions for everyone involved. Mothers have a higher stress level and more financial struggles. Fathers who are less involved with their children also have higher levels of stress and more incidents of criminal activity. Please take a moment to think about how lack of father involvement impacts each member of the family. What are the stressors? How would they cope? Or do they have a support system? One of the most significant challenges for a father in maintaining involvement with his child is actually the mother. The divorce and perceptions of a mother regarding the role of a father can oftentimes create a barrier for the father and his relationship with his child. There are times in which the mother's poor attitudes towards the father and child relationship can create a negative impact on both the child and the parenting relationship. Mothers can be threatened by the father and their relationship with their child, but there also can be strain in the mother-father relationship when the mother serves as what is known as a gatekeeper to the father-child relationship. Because of the stress created from this barrier, mothers can also benefit from active father involvement. This is one of the largest gaps in promoting and supporting father involvement. Mothers who are known as gatekeepers. I'm sure you've heard the term mothers know best. Well, mother doesn't always know best when it comes to father involvement. Oftentimes, mothers tend to downplay the importance of the father for a variety of reasons, including fears of losing a connection with their children, lack of understanding of the importance of the father role, and also they sometimes are taking a selfish approach to parenting their children. When parenting classes or support groups aren't available for the mother and the father together, it does a disadvantage to the child and both parents. If mothers are able to have the support in the parenting of their child, then they have decreased stress levels, which can also positively benefit the child, as well as the father-child and the mother-child relationships. As you probably already know, most support systems that have already been established have been court-mandated co-parenting classes. If you've ever had the experience of attending one of these classes, you probably know there is a lot of tension that exists between both parents. Most families that go through a divorce have many negative emotions built up, as well as fears of the unknown when it comes to custody, shared custody, and co-parenting, not to mention the worries for their children's well-being and their financial well-being. These parenting classes are also only available for parents who are going through divorce. They aren't parenting classes for mothers and fathers who are still married, and they also aren't designated and available for couples who are not divorcing and are already co-parenting. Also, when you hear of support systems for fathers, you typically hear about this available for the father only. The fathers attend alone and receive information about parenting alone. As we know, approaching the topic of father involvement and the benefits of father involvement are most beneficial with the dyad. You need to include the mother and the father together. Also, providing a social network to fathers creates positive outcomes, and even more so for families in poverty, with low educational levels, and parents who have difficulty co-parenting. Support systems can create stronger father involvement, benefiting the entire family. What does father involvement look like? Here is a quick look at a very simple, important interaction between a father and a young child. Can you tell me why this interaction is important and how this interaction provides for important life lessons, with it being the father in this example instead of the mother? What is the father offering to the child that a mother cannot? Please think about these questions as you watch this video.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
When I get all steamed up, then I shout.
Tip me over and pour me out. Oh. The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Cheers. Take time to be a dad today.
So you're probably wondering, what does this have to do with us at Head Start? Well, you can make a great impact. Your agency serves some of the most vulnerable families in your communities. Some of those that we mentioned already. Families who are living in poverty, who have stressful situations that are occurring in their life, and single parents. You also know that early intervention in young children's lives is key. Early intervention is key. And let's face it, we all know that Head Start works. Think about ways that your father or a father you know may have supported their child. What lessons were learned or can be learned from a father being involved? So, how can you provide opportunities for father involvement that benefit the family? Well, currently you are already providing regularly monthly parent meetings. So, in addition, you can provide monthly support groups that both parents attend. As we discussed previously, both parents and the child benefit from this type of support group. By doing this, your program is positively supporting the entire family. Positive outcomes for the whole family. Your role at these support groups would be to educate both parents on the importance of the father being actively involved in their child's life. How how the fathers can be actively involved, and what the mother's role in supporting that involvement would be. It's important to provide specific information about how they can include the father in the child's life. You can even use some of the research that I have provided you here. But there are many organizations out there that have resources available that you can share with the parents. Get them connected with the resources. We all know that we are more willing to change things as parents if we know the benefits that will be provided to our child and the benefits that are provided to us. By providing examples of how the family can involve the father, it leads to another valuable way to support the family unit. Another way that your program can support is by reconfiguring your child and family goal setting process, including activities which the father specifically can do to support the child. Rather than just inviting the mother to attend these meetings, it can be emphasized through the support group and parent newsletters the importance of father's role, which is critical for Head Start families. Now, currently, your goal process includes overall family goals. So this would be focusing on specific goals that can help the child to increase their outcomes for child development in a multitude of areas with the interaction with their father. Of course, you don't want to forget about the interactions with the mother as well, but the whole idea of this is to get both parents to understand why that having fathers involved are so important. Can you think of a few activities yourself that can be included? For example, if a child has a goal to increase their letter awareness, what are some specific activities that a father could do with their child to help to increase the child's developmental level in that area? Or any other activities that you may be able to think of. Think of the children that you have in your classrooms, the goals that you already currently have, and how could you add in that extra component to address the father? So, to recap on everything we learned today, we know that father involvement benefits the whole family. We know that the role of the family has evolved over time, which may be cause for fathers having difficulty with their current nurturing role. As time changes, they may get confused on what exactly it is that they should be doing to support their child as a father. And most importantly, we know that Head Start can make a difference through providing parenting support groups and gearing parent, family, and child goals to support father involvement. Please take a few moments to write down short-term and long-term goals that your program can implement. These goals will be your notes to take with you to begin developing a plan to help to promote changes within your agency as it relates to subpar father involvement. Does anybody want to share the goals that they've come up with? Do you have any questions? That concludes the presentation. If you have any follow-up questions, please feel free to contact me. I've also provided you with a list of resources that I've referenced throughout this presentation so that you may use those resources as you see fit to educate both parents in your support groups on the importance of father involvement. Thank you.